Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dane, your host. Hope you're doing great wherever you may find yourselves. Blessings to all. Welcome to a new series called What Every Artist Has in Their Discography. And in this new series, I will present 8 releases from a specific discography, whether a band or an artist, and talk about what we would call some of their best work, some of their work, some of their masterpieces, that kind of thing. So I have 8 categories to talk about for each time I present an artist or band, and here they are: the one that got popular, the experimental, the fan favorite, the cult classic, the best of all time, the meh, the dark horse, also known as the underrated gem, and the atrocious. So those are the different categories, if you will, and today I'm presenting Rush. But before we get to that, keep in mind that this is hyperbolic, because not every artist has this in their discography. So for example, if you take the Stooges, they only have 3 albums in their whole discography, so you're not going to have 8 of these different weigh-ins or rankings or ratings, and there are others, of course, like the Critics' Darling. I may do that down the road and talk about that individually, but we'll see. Maybe not. So again, there you have it. Think of the good, the bad, and the ugly, but expanded to 8 categories. All right, so let's get started. Today is Rush, and we're going to start with the one that got popular. That would be Signals. Coming off the waves of the wonderful success of Moving Pictures and, of course, Exit Stage Left. For many of us, we were very disappointed because Neil Peart says, hey, Rush, Moving Pictures is where we became Rush. And we get this, which is very different from, you have elements of reggae, right? You have elements of pop and synth pop because of what the band was listening to at the time. And for many of us, can't speak for everybody, but for many of us, this had to grow on us. I do like this album, but it's not my favorite. I don't think it's a masterpiece, but it is one that got popular, and it is popular. I do listen to this quite a bit, but it is not my favorite, as I said. It is worth owning. Let me stress that. Also keep in mind that what I might think is the one that got popular or a cult classic, etc., might be different from what your opinion is, and that's fine. I'm just presenting my opinion in this. So anyway, this is the one that got popular. Next is experimental, Caress of Steel. Some of you will argue this is their dark horse. I would agree with that, but I'm presenting a different dark horse or underrated gem. Sometimes there's going to be blurring, so again, just a matter of opinion. So you have Bastille Day, I Think I'm Going Bald, Lakeside Park, all short songs, considering who the band is, of course. But then you get really into experimental waters with The Necromancer, 12 and a half minutes, taking up half of side A, and then side B is just one song divided into parts, foreshadowing what's to come, and that is here on this album, The Fountain of Lamneth. Almost just 2 seconds shy of 20 minutes. This is a very dark album, sounding and with respect to much of the lyrical content here. But I would say overall it's a completely dark album, but it is worth owning. It is a very good album. It is definitely something I turn to over and over and over again. This never gets old. Thematically rich, lyrics are rich, just a great album, musically, sonically, overall from all 3 guys. Heavy at times, super heavy at times, not totally, but heavy at times, and the heaviness is glorious. Next, fan favorite. A lot of fans talk about this being their favorite. It's not my favorite, but often people cite this as their fan favorite, and that is, of course, Hemispheres. And how could it not be for so many? Because of, you get that continuation from the previous album, Farewell to Kings, with Cygnus X1, now Cygnus X1 Book 2, Hemispheres, just over 18 minutes, thematically rich, dealing with a lot of allusions to Greek mythology, okay, some philosophy here as well, and culminating in the last part of the song, The Sphere Kind of Dream, which is acoustic, and Geddy Lee never sounded better vocally, just amazing. Then side B, you have a light shade type song, kind of a hard pop song in circumstances, has its heavy moments. It's wonderful. The Tree is very allegorical. Sometimes you listen to it and you think it's going to be longer, at least I do, and it's not. It's under 5 minutes, but it's still great. It has an epic component to it because of said allegory. And then just passing the 9.5 minute mark, La Via Strangiato. I love the live version better on Exit Stage Left, but boy, this is still great. A little different, so you have that reason to listen to them both, because this one starts off with an acoustic, flamenco style guitar intro, whereas the live version is some shredding from Alex. And either way, it's great. This is a wonderful song, an epic track, instrumental from the band, one of my favorite songs of all time. So nothing to snooze at here, nothing sleeper on here, no filler, so I get why this is a fan favorite. All right, next, the cult classic would be 2112. Some will argue Hemispheres, but for many, this is the cult classic, and why not? Side A, like Side B of Caress of Steel. This is where they're all in and ignore the record label after the Down the Tubes tour, which was the Caress of Steel tour, and they go with their gut and produce an even better album than Caress of Steel for many, their magnum opus. 2112, you have 7 parts to that. Go figure, it's Rush at the time. And you have some heaviness, as you know, with the overture and Temples of Syrinx, extremely heavy from Geddy's perspective with respect to Geddy's vocals. Then you have some light and shade with Discovery and Presentation. You have some soft stuff with Oracle, The Dream, Soliloquy, and then it picks up again with Grand Finale. I've talked about this album so many times here, but just a great story, thematically rich, great licks from Alex, great bass lines, and a great rhythm section. Overall, just firing on cylinders type of side A, and then side B, firing on all cylinders again. But now you got your shorter passages with a Passage to Bangkok, a nice heavy song about the ganja, although that's not my cup of tea. The Twilight Zone, cool song, a tribute to, now I'm trying to think of the guy who did that show. Anyway, that'll come to me later while I'm trying to sleep. He did Night Gallery and all that, right? Wonderful, wonderful storyteller. Lessons, song penned by Alex himself, and then Tears, a wonderful, beautiful Rod Serling. There we go. Tears, song not written by Pert, but rather by Geddy. It's haunting. It's chilling. It's not haunting in a horror sense, but it's just so depressing and yet moving and compelling. And the way it ends can bring tears of your own. Can produce tears of your own. At least it did when I first heard it. Has that sense of gravitas to it. And then finally, a more heavier tune with Something for Nothing to close the album out. So cult classic, excuse me. Now, this is often the best of all time with respect to the discography, and I would agree it's my favorite. Tom Sawyer, of course. Red Barchetto, YYZ, a lovely instrumental. Okay. Limelight, another hit off the album. The Camera Eye, still an epic here. Perhaps Rush's last great epic in their discography. Witch Hunt and Vital Signs. Again, Geddy stepping into the role of all the protagonists in the stories here. This is like a collection of short stories set to music. I've said that before. It's marvelous. Now, many of you will disagree with respect to which Rush album is the meh. I could pick a few. I'm going with Counterparts. There are some songs I like on here. I rarely listen to Animate anymore, or Stick It Out, or Cut to the Chase. These were fine songs for me back in the day. They are still very fine songs for many of you, including Nobody's Hero. Of those 4, I would probably listen to Nobody's Hero the most. In recent times, I've said I'd probably listen to the first or second the most, but I've changed my mind. Between Sun and Moon is a good song, not a great song. Alien Shore, I could deal without. Speed of Love, I could do without. Double Agent is fabulous. Leave That Thing Alone. It's a cool instrumental, but it pales in comparison to what's come before with the band. Cold Fire is a good song, not a great song. I do like it. Cool, catchy hook at the beginning, riff, if you will. And Everyday Glory, I think, is absolute garbage. I've said this before, and I angered some people, but hey, It's just one person's opinion. Don't take it to heart. Yeah, I think this is a meh of an album. It's their grunge album. I hear a little bit of that. I don't hear a whole lot of grunge. Anyway, underrated gem or the dark horse for me is Vapor Trails. I know a lot of people have poo-pooed on this, critics and fans alike, but I think it's fabulous. I think this is a comeback album. Right off the bat, you get some, fast-paced double bass drumming from One Little Victory. Won't call it thrash metal, but it has a thrash metal vibe to start things off, letting you know the band is back, right? Ceiling Unlimited is fabulous. Ghost Rider's sad, but amazing. Peaceable Kingdom is heavy and yet downright, grabs hold of you and never lets go. The Stars Look Down, kind of a folky, ethereal at times song. I like it. Geddy's voice is great here. How It Is a very good song, not a great song. The title track is superb. I love it. Secret Touch is amazing, a goosebump type song for me. Earthshine, same thing, goosebumpy. Sweet Miracle, same thing. All, 3 songs back to back to back. These are all masterpiece songs. Nocturne is okay, not great. Freeze is quite good, part 4 of Fear. And then Out of the Cradle, they should have left off. Out of the Cradle is to this what Everyday Glory is to this. I think it's a throwaway. But you have 13 songs and 12 of them are somewhere in between good and masterpiece. Most of them much higher than good. All right, so, and then finally, the atrocious, although I do like 2 songs on here, and that is Test for Echo, and I like the 2 songs that are Test for Echo and Driven, but Half the World, The Color of Right, Time and Emotion, Totem, Dog Years, I think that song is laughable. Virtuality, I think, is near laughable. Resist is okay. Too sappy for me. Limbo, I could do without, and Carve Away the Stone is like the last 2 albums on here. I see a pattern. So for me, this is pretty much a coaster if it weren't for 2 songs. So approaching atrocious. Anyway, I could put Hold Your Fire here. I could put Presto. Those are the 3 choices. Anyway, then I chose this one. All right. So there we have it, folks. Tell me what you think if you want to post your own list. Again, the categories are the one that got popular, experimental, fan favorite, cult classic, best of all time, meh, underrated gem, and atrocious. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. God bless. Bye now.